Don't abdicate.
Oh, yeah.
Fight. I mean, my goodness, the president's fighting till the bitter end here. Now, let's talk about President Trump, and that is the ongoing litigation battles. There is a case filed now in Georgia, another one that's been filed yesterday. Cleta Mitchell, colleague of ours, has filed a lawsuit there alleging violations of state law as well. Wisconsin now has 2 lawsuits filed. Arizona, of course, Jordan, I think you reported on that this morning. This is a very interesting development.
In Arizona, there was the judge ordered a recount to specific kind of ballots. These are ballots that come in and something happened to them, like in the mail, they got torn, ripped, something happened through the machine, and so the poll workers correct them to the best of their ability so that your vote counts. Well, they just reviewed 100, and out of the 100, now this may sound small, but out of 100, when you're talking about tens of thousands of votes, start adding this number up. 2 out of the 100 were corrected to vote for Joe Biden that should have been clearly voted for Trump. 2 out of the 100. So the judge has ordered now a review of 2,500 more in Arizona like this. And you, again, just start doing the math. If there was some systematic way where if it was, they could somehow try to put the vote some other way, that would show not only illegal conduct, but it is fraud on the behalf of those election workers, and it's certainly illegal. So that is what I said today. I was on Newsmax this morning before we were on air, and I said what we're seeing is not so much that we're seeing new cases filed, but we're also seeing the fruits of the original cases that were filed alleging illegal conduct by the states. It all started with the stay out of Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
Where they said this, you can't take in these late incoming ballots. You can't violate the laws that are on the books without changing the laws. You didn't do that, so you can't just do it by executive fiat at the state level. So we're putting a stay in place. That stay is still in place.
I was going to say, the interesting thing about that is, of course, where you represent the president in that, and we intervened in that case because originally we weren't a party, but that stay has stayed in place now for a month. So the initial stay that was issued by Justice Alito has stayed in place. Harry, that tells me, it's hard to read tea leaves on these things, that the Supreme Court's trying to keep a status quo kind of situation to see what develops here over the next week or 10 days.
I think that's precisely correct. And the key issue here is accuracy in voting. So if we take Jordan's comment with respect to Arizona, that is a very, very important decision because based on the results of 100 votes, we now know that there is a possibility, at least, if this carries forward, that that's a 4% vote swing because it's 2 votes that should have gone to Trump but actually went the other way. So that's a 4% vote swing. That's enough, if it carries forward in other precincts, to change the outcome in Arizona.
And Cleta Mitchell just sent me a note that they are filing today. It has not been filed yet, but the one in Georgia, in addition to the ones that have already been filed, is being filed sometime today. That's the plan.
And then, of course, in Nevada, Rick Grinnell's team, he'll be joining us later in the broadcast. They got to review the machines. They're getting to review the machines themselves. In Georgia, 3 counties, a judge said you cannot delete the information on those voting machines. Those 3 counties are you've got Gwinnett and Cobb, they went to Biden, and Cherokee, which went to Trump. So there can be a review of those. Now, they're all being fought out. Now you've got states saying, we don't want you to have that review. Now, Rick Grinnell is going to be joining us later because I want to know how that process is working in Nevada. Because
actually
in Georgia,
working on the ground.
Georgia, the state's coming in and saying, we can't allow you to review it because that would allow you to see proprietary information. So they're trying to fight back. Republican governor, and a Republican Secretary of State, who, by the way, Republican Secretary of State, you know what finally got him to say, maybe there was fraud here? He had a son who passed away, and his son has gotten 3 different voter registration pieces in the mail from the group started by Stacey Abrams, then taken over by Warnock. And now he's looking into it when there's a runoff and it affected him. But he didn't look into it when it was the presidential election, and this is the guy who goes and whines on television.
Yeah.
That one makes me sick because it only matters to these politicians when they see it firsthand. They don't believe anybody. They don't want to look. They always want to look the other way. And the truth is, now we're seeing. Count up those states: Pennsylvania, Georgia, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. That's clearly enough to be outcome determinative.
Yeah, and Pennsylvania, of course.
Pennsylvania.
This is what the Secretary of State said.
Here's something that came to our house yesterday. We got 3 of them, all from the same organization. And it's to my son, Brenton J. Raffensperger, who passed away 2 years ago.
Okay, so, and that I feel horrible about. That's terrible. And the fact that they sent it to his son shows you how these are fraught with fraud. But let me make a very clear statement on Georgia, because I think this is important. We have a national election taking place in Georgia. I want everybody to be aware of this. This is a national election. This is not just picking 2 senators that will represent the state of Georgia. This is control of the United States Senate. So this is the equivalent of a presidential race. It's a branch of government, or at least half of a branch of government, that is literally at stake during this election. And I know there's some in Atlanta, some lawyers I know, saying don't vote. First of all, you have a constitutional obligation to vote. That's number one. And vote, we don't tell you to vote for, but you need to vote. But understand what's at stake, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. This is the control of the United States Senate that is at play here. So when reckless statements are made about not voting because they don't trust the machines, look, we're doing everything we can and will do on election integrity issues. That's what the ACLJ is one of the things we do. But then this idea, people need to understand in Georgia what's at stake here for the rest of the country.
Yeah, so much is at stake, Jay. And let me just say this very clearly. The side that unifies the swiftest and the most effectively is going to win both of those seats. Because, look, there's some idea out there right now that, you can go a couple more weeks and tell people not to vote, and then at the end you'll tell them to vote. Jay, mobilization on the ground right now to get on the fence voters motivated, to get people who aren't registered to vote. Jay, this is when that election will be won. So I'm going to say it again. The side that unifies the quickest and the most effectively, Jay, they're going to win both these seats.
Jordan, I cannot stress enough. I mean, I was very discouraged when I heard people I know, lawyers I know in Atlanta yesterday saying don't vote. This is absurd. Don't abdicate.
Oh, yeah.
Fight. I mean, my goodness, the president's fighting till the bitter end here. We're litigating. We got a case still standing at the Supreme Court on the election. I can't tell you how it's going to go. It's an uphill battle. We all know that. Odds are against us. Can anything happen? Sure. Could it go the other way? Yeah. But I'm going to tell you this. To abdicate a branch of government because you don't think that the Georgia officials were tough enough during the presidential election, which I tend to agree with, is ridiculous. That's a very bad response to a national election, and that's what this is.